sports, plus a view inside the world of music, food, and pop culture.
We'll begin at this point.
The Middle of the Day Show with Mark Rodgers and Brad Copeland, now on 98.1 FM, WWLS, the sports animal. Now it's time for the Big Three, sponsored by Service Master by Eagle Eye, carpet and air duct cleaning, water and fire restoration, and more. Call 405-216-8000 or visit smbyee.com.
Welcome to the Middle of the Day Show on a Bob Moore Thursday, very special Bob Moore Thursday. Dillon Gabriel, Oklahoma quarterback, is going to be hanging out with us for the hour. Don't forget about Bob Moore Nissan. Brad Copeland is there today, as he is every Thursday. Bob Moore Cadillac store, which is in between us at I-35 and Indian Hills Road. And if you're listening on the radio, want to see more coverage of this, we are streaming live on the Sports Animal Facebook page, the YouTube page, and also within the app. So we're going to have a lot of fun over the next hour chatting with Dillon Gabriel. Tell me, first of all, how your relationship got started with Bob Moore Ford. And I know Ben said you could have your choice of Cadillac, Nissan, and you said, no, give me the F-150, which is what you're driving around with your deal with Bob Moore.
No, I think just from the beginning, it was very unique. And just with the whole day and age of NIL, it's beautiful how you can create new relationships. And just meeting with Luke and then meeting with Ben, and obviously shout out to my guy Hector, just connecting with all three of them. They really made this happen and have been very supportive of me. So, with what it is and, the connection between not only the Ford store, but the Nissan and the Cadillac store, I'm proud to represent them. And then also just our relationship that we built. I'm really grateful for them.
Is the F-150, is that in an effort to fully embrace the Oklahoma experience? Because I would think F-150 would not be at the top of your list if you were in Hawaii.
Yeah, back in my day, I was driving a little gold Kia with a rolled window. So I had a pretty good car back home. But now up here, man, the F-150 is unreal. I'm not so technologically sound with that car. So I'm learning new things every single day. But it's quite funny, to be quite honest.
Yeah, if a truck is a very functional Oklahoma type vehicle, that's for sure. So, but we want to say thanks to Bob Moore for making this happen. And up and down I-35 between Norman and here at Southeast 89th, got you covered with Cadillac and also Nissan. I assume that this is such a new area. It's a struggle for us to talk about NIL. It's a struggle to talk to coaches about NIL, about how much is up in the air with the way that things are. Tell me how you started that relationship with Bob Moore.
Yeah. Going just with what you said of a struggle, I think it's tough for everyone just because it's so new and it's so fresh. But, I've just had the approach of just being real, natural and being myself and genuine. And I'm big on relationships. So, that opportunity to meet with Luke and meet with Ben and with Hector, it was very pure, it was very genuine. And I think it's pretty clear they wanted to get into space. And then, of course, on my end, just being new to Oklahoma, just building that connection, and Bob Moore's done a really great job in Oklahoma. So it's pretty clear that I had to make this connection just based on the great people that have in this organization.
Dillon, as a guy that's this far into your collegiate career as a quarterback, when you read these stories like we do about younger guys, and it's implied, if not said directly, that they're going to sign with this school because they're going to get X amount of dollars to go play there. Mm-hmm. Given your experience sort of on the ledge of the NIL thing, sort of coming into college football before NIL was really a big mainstream thing, if it existed at all, and now it being where it is, do you look at that and go, man, I feel bad for that guy because that's not the way that I would want to have chosen the school that I wanted to go to based on the money that might be available there?
Yeah, I think it's just truly based on, individual households, how, certain people were raised, and, just from where I'm from, being in Hawaii and how I was raised with my family, the game of football is the main focus. And that's what drives me to, go to work every day is my family, and how they raised me is to just be grateful for every opportunity. And it was never a goal or a number one priority with NIL for my decision, for sure. But I think just with, I guess these new recruits and this next generation, it's going to be reality for all of them. But it's truly individual households, how they, prioritize what is, their main things they want to attack, whether it's playing time, whether it's NIL, whether it's facilities. Yeah, it'll be based on those guys.
Yeah, a lot of factors going into that decision. So you're about a year in Oklahoma. Obviously, you commented on the snow when you walked in here that we had. It's all gone after a couple of days. Just tell me, was it better than you expected, different than you expected for being here for a year?
I think just with the way my decision went and how fast it happened, I really had no expectations other than I'm grateful for another opportunity. And I know just the whole transfer process was tough. But once I got here, gosh, it's been the best thing for me in my life in the present. And I'm grateful for, God's path that he has for me. And I'm just truly sticking to following that. But yeah, Oklahoma's been so much fun. Not only the people, but this place, a bunch of first times for me, whether it's, snow or just doing a bunch of new things. And I'm grateful for that and all the people that have embraced me, obviously.
So it was the first snow for you. What did you do? Those are, I mean, if it was the best snow that we've ever had in terms of the big flakes, and it wasn't cold and it didn't cause any kind of big traffic issues or anything like that.
I remember the first time I saw snow, obviously being in Oklahoma, I FaceTimed my mom and I was just like, standing outside, and I really didn't know how to act, but
right. Well, it was that was you got a good snow from us because it can get worse. Hopefully it doesn't next week.
Yeah, forget about the snow. It's the ice and that junk that we get that's way worse than the snow. And
Exactly.
Mark's right. This was the perfect snow because it came and went. You got the joy of seeing it for a minute, and then it went away, and there were no traffic issues or minimal traffic issues as a result of it.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask you about the it wasn't really a controversy. It wasn't even really. It just sort of became a story.
Mm-hmm.
When you made the comment that you made at the end of the season about we'll deal with that. I think the question was asked, are you going to come back to OU? Or there was the question was asked in some way that was open-ended about you coming back and being the quarterback at OU.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you answered it left enough ambiguity that it became this story of, is Dillon going to stay? Is he going to go into the portal? Is he going to do something else? Were you surprised that story ran off the way that it did? Because it didn't seem like that was your intent when you answered the way that you did.
Yeah, I had no intent to make it dramatic or make any make it anything, honestly. I was just didn't feel it was the right time and place. I wanted to respect my team and what we had at hand, and that was our bowl game. And I didn't think it was the right time and place until afterwards when, that's when usually players do make their decision or choose that. But for me, it was just the right time and place. I am, a captain on the team, and I want to make the main focus, which is what was at hand, which is the bowl game. So
I want to go back to that process of, I think it seems extremely difficult for quarterbacks because quarterbacks are moving around a lot and quarterbacks are searching for the right place for them until some dominoes land. You came to Oklahoma. Caleb Williams still hadn't made up his mind. UCLA was also in the mix for you.
Mm-hmm.
They had a quarterback returning in DTR.
Yep.
So you said it was the right path for you. So take me through that process of how you determined, hey, what if Caleb comes back? What is going to be in it for me, or can I look around? Just how did that process go where you finally thought, okay, Oklahoma is going to be the place where I can come shine?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear when people enter the portal, it's, to obviously transfer to go somewhere else. But for me, I just, like I said, felt it was the right opportunity. Obviously, OU, just the history and the people they had in that building already. It was a no-brainer, how I've always said. And just looking back on the year, I'm blessed and I'm grateful to be in this position. I know it was a up and down year, and not only for the fans of the building, but just the players in general too. This is a new area for everyone, honestly. But just looking back, I'm just grateful for the lessons I learned and a lot of growing up on everyone's end.
When you thought about making that move, when you knew you were going to leave UCF, how much did Jeff Levy factor into the decision that you made? And do you assess we see quarterbacks leave, and sometimes they go into situations where they're going to compete for the job. You would have been competing had Caleb come back. It wound up that he didn't, and you were odds on going to be the guy that wound up being the quarterback. But when you consider that you're going to make a move, do you look at the quarterback room and say, what are my chances of being the guy in this room? Or do most quarterbacks, yourself specifically, have the confidence level that, hey, if I go in there, I'm going to be able to, if I play to the best of my ability, I'm going to have the ability to win that starting job wherever I go?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things you look at. I think for any transfer, right, how successful a team is, what they got coming back, who the coaches are, does the scheme fit yourself, playing time, obviously, and then I think it's just all around decision you have to make and kind of weigh the pros and cons. But for me, like I said, I was just I knew what I was getting into, and just very confident in myself and my abilities, but also just know the way I prepare and the way I work, and I'm forever going to lean on that.
All right, UCF is coming into the Big 12 next year.
Yeah.
So if they call and said, hey, Dillon, we want you to come back, we want you to speak to the entire team and tell them what to expect when they come into the Big 12 conference.
Yeah.
What's the difference there and here?
I think I'd say one of the biggest differences are the atmospheres. Also personnel, just I guess all around, not top heavy, and the differences in that of really good teams and not so good. I just think it's super balanced and it's competitive. That's part of the reason I came to Oklahoma. I know how competitive this league is. I know how competitive the Power Five is in general. So that'd be what I'd say, I guess.
I got a follow-up question on that.
Go ahead.
Atmosphere-wise, and this was a great year for the conference. I've covered it for a long time. I think balance-wise, I don't know that I've ever seen it better, that every week is a tough game.
Yep.
Atmospheres, you didn't get to play in the Texas game, which we'll probably talk a little bit more about the concussion and the protocol and all that stuff. But What were your favorite atmospheres?
I'd say the Nebraska one was really dope. I did love the Texas one. I wish I could have played, obviously.
It's always dope when you blow them off the field, Dillon.
Feels even better, honestly. But, yeah, Nebraska, Texas. I thought Bedlam was really dope, just with all the history behind that. And I'd say the first game of the season, UTEP, us at home. I remember the first time I heard Boomer and Sooner on each end, on the west side and the east side. It was just, I never heard anything like it. So
very cool.
Were there any games that you could compare and take away the non-conference, but in the Big 12 conference, any Big 12 conference games that any of the games when you were playing at UCF felt like, or did it feel like you were making a step up in level of play going from UCF to the Big 12?
I think the teams that joined, obviously the Big 12s are teams that played at a high level. UCF, Cincinnati, that game was big time. I guess whoever the team of the year that was very talented,
right.
Like some Memphis games, the atmosphere was pretty good, and Tulane, of course. So, but yeah, back to what I was saying, the UCF and Cincinnati environments were pretty similar, close to the typical ones here.
What is the just the overall passion for OU football? Sometimes it's a little bit of an adjustment. I had a basketball player that left here and went to play to Kentucky, and he said, "Oh man, everywhere I went, I was recognized and all this stuff." And it's just like, it's different than maybe other situations around. Have you had to deal with a lot of that everywhere you go? There's people always kind of talking to you and wanting your attention.
Not necessarily. People are very respectful here and loving. It reminds me of back home as, when my dad played at UH or University of Hawaii, and Colt Brennan, when Hawaii football was doing good, the quarterback, everyone knew him. And that's why or just the good players, Devon Bess. And I remember growing up around those guys. So it's similar in the way, in a college town or a smaller town where it's family, and everyone wants that team to succeed, and it's similar, and we feel the support, everywhere. So.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We're with Dillon Gabriel on a Bob Moore Thursday. Also, Bob Moore Cadillac. Brad's at Bob Moore Nissan. I'm at Bob Moore Ford, Southeast 89th and I-35. We'll talk a little bit about the offseason preparation and how OU's geared up for next year. And if you've got a question that you want to ask Dillon, you can send us a text on the Trade Pros Heat and Air Text Connect line at 62582. It's the Middle of the Day show on a Bob Moore Thursday. Stay tuned.
got Bob Moore Cadillac in between the two of us. So
We have him back.
outside of OKC. Come into Bob Moore Nissan, 1.99% financing on Rogues, 2.59 on Pathfinders and Altimas, 2.99 on Frontiers, Maximus, Kicks, Rogue Sports, and Muranos, or 2.99 for 72 months on the all-electric Leaf, any of those that are in stock. And they do have new inventory on the lot today. Lot to choose from. Come in, pick out what you want. Don't prejudge your credit. Don't prejudge your trade. Come in and let them make you a customer for life. Bob Moore Nissan, I-35 and Tecumseh Road.
Thank you, Brad. We're here with Dillon Gabriel, and I want to talk about the preparation for the bowl game at Florida State, because you did have some guys opt out. You were missing a couple of dudes on the offensive line. Matter of fact, I think 4 that you played with most of the season. I was really impressed with that game. I thought you guys played really well. I really liked seeing Gavin Sawchuk. Looked like he brought a little bit of a different dimension for the offense. So give me kind of a scouting report of what went on in that window, and how you felt about the transition from the regular season and going into the 2023 season.
Yeah, the preparation for the bowl game was interesting, just because, during that time, a lot of people are making decisions. And we did have some opt-outs. And, it's interesting, but it's also great for an opportunity for a bunch of, younger guys to step up and kind of have their spotlight to go showcase what they're able to do. But all the guys that played, I'm extremely proud of them. A lot of them, that was their first snaps, but also for them, just the way they played and the effort they showed, knowing that maybe they didn't have as much experience. They're tenacious and they're nasty, ready to go. So up front, I was proud of them. And I know it wasn't the, final score that we wanted. And obviously we wanted to win, but there's a lot of positives to take out of that, and I think they showcase and put themselves in a good spot, going into spring.
When guys opt out like that, Dillon, are you able to separate yourself from the personal angle of, I wish that guy was playing, or let's say Marvin Mims declares to go to the draft?
Yeah.
Are you able to take your personal disappointment of, I would love to play with him for another season, out of the mix, and just look at it as the opportunity that it presents for a player like that? Because I would think that that's one of the things that's changed about college football that makes it a little more difficult, is you don't know on any level the way that you used to might have known. If I go here, I'm going to be with these guys for this many years. So can you take that personal disappointment out and just be happy for the player?
Yeah, there's no disappointment at all. And I think as players, we understand that we all have this dream of getting to the next level and playing in the NFL. So just understanding that and knowing that, like I said, just decisions are going to be made individually that's best for their career. You respect it, and I love Marvin. Of course, I would have loved him to be on the team this year. But God has a path for him and him individually, and he's a great player. And how blessed is he to, be able to go to the NFL draft and do what he does. And for me, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of anyone who, goes through that I've played with, because I know it's a tough decision. I know people go through those decisions, when they get to the 3-4 years down the road. So, yeah, just a bunch of respect for whoever does, knowing that we all want to get to the NFL someday.
All right, we had somebody text us here. It said, can we expect more 60-yard touchdown runs? Now, not trying to disrespect you, but when you took off against Nebraska, I was like, hey, it's a nice run. And then I was like, what? They're probably not – they might not catch him. He's going to score. I mean, you displayed some wheels on that.
Yeah, I'm good from 61, like as a kicker would say. But, I would love to. I mean, whatever it takes to
hit us on the Trade Pro Heat and Air text line. 625.
We got you back.
And we'll try and do that. Dillon, I was saying that I wasn't trying to stir the pot between you and Marvin. That was just the guy that popped into my head of somebody that's going to be leaving that you won't be playing with. It could be any number of guys, but that's the reality of college football that you have to operate in now.
Yep.
Hey, we asked before we dropped off. Someone texted us about your touchdown run against Nebraska, and I was going to say that I thought, well, that's a nice run out of the pocket. It's going to be a nice first down. You just kind of kept going, and then nobody caught you. I mean, so tell me about that. And maybe I've not given you the proper credit for your speed.
Yeah, no, as a kicker would say, I'm good from 61. So that's kind of my inside joke. But no, I'd love to continue that. But whatever it takes, just continue to be competitive and finding ways to win is my goal and my drive.
All right, let's go.
Hey, Mark may not give you the credit for that, but our buddy Todd Furman does, because he had a ticket on you to win the Heisman this year. So that ought to make you feel good.
I love it.
Hey, let's go through the TCU game. I mean, that was a wicked, cheap shot that you took going down the field in that game. Do you remember the shot? And then what were the subsequent weeks like trying to get ready to get back out there on the field?
Yeah, I remember it. I remember everything. It's, scary, but it's also aggressive sport. My mom was all worried and stuff, but we know what we're getting into as football players. The aggression, the physicality, it's just all a part of it. So, I'm blessed. I'm lucky that, I have great people in the training room for us. The trainers just protecting us and sometimes protecting us from ourselves, and kind of through that process afterwards, definitely just symptoms and really focused on healing. So had my phone taken away from me for the first 2 days. So
that'd be tough.
It was different,
Yeah.
But I couldn't go on my phone. I was in, dark rooms, obviously, and I was sleeping a bunch, just letting my mind heal and my brain heal, which was weird because, with other injuries, you can usually see them, but this one you can't really see or I guess necessarily feel. So you got to just rest. And I trusted the trainers, and, I'm blessed to have them just because they put me in a really good spot. And going into Texas, really, I honestly felt, we had a chance to play, but just with how, vicious the hit was and the timetable and it being 6 days, it's a chance for anyone. And I wanted to play the rest of the season, and I knew if it was 1 week out, then I would be in a good spot, to play the next week. So, like I said, just grateful for the trainers protecting, sometimes us from ourselves and putting me in a good spot.
That was the thing that I was gonna key on, Dillon. You mentioned protecting you from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is it to listen to the trainer and understand? Because if you don't feel, if you've got a sprained ankle, you feel it when you walk on it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in the beginning you felt the after effects of that concussion. But if you can't feel it directly, how hard is it to let somebody say to you, we don't think you're ready to go, and have to abide by that?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I love the game. It was tough also because of the game that was about to be played. It's a game I dreamed of playing in, and gosh, it's a great environment. So that was another tough part, but just also another opportunity. I know how much of a blessing it is to even play in, a game. So I'm grateful for every opportunity. It kind of puts things into perspective, at least for me. And I'm just grateful that I'm good now, and it's clear, road ahead. So
you got the text line is blown up here a little bit about this question. It said, you took another real questionable hit from Reggie Pearson at Tech, and now he's coming to OU.
Yeah.
So have you talked to him about that, and what's that process like?
Yeah, people on that hit. Yeah. I mean, I landed on the ball, so I couldn't breathe, and I'm trying to,
that's a bad injury that's like a terrible cramp. That's pretty painful.
Yeah,
right?
I was just, I was breathing in, but I couldn't breathe out, so I landed on the ball. I mean, that's basically it. That's why I was in the next play. But it's cool. I mean, me and Reggie obviously talked about it. We were joking around about it, but he's a great guy. It's football, it's competitive, it's physical, like I said. There's that component, but when you remove people from football, we're all have this common goal of getting to where we want to get to in our dreams and our goals. So we also understand that when we're off the football field.
Strength and conditioning, Jerry Schmidt. He's got a reputation everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about what it was like to transition into to Schmidt's workouts. Is he easier on the quarterbacks than he is on everybody else?
No, I think he's equally hard on everyone, and he's great because he tries to look for that weak link and kind of call him up to put their end of the portion into what we're doing. And I love Coach Smitty, just the way he pushes me, the uncomfortable situations he tries to put me in, so I grow and I continue to grow. And I was telling my parents, like, I feel like I'm a freshman the way he's pushing me, and just trying to get everything out of me to be my best, and I can appreciate that and really respect it. So I'm grateful for him, and uh, just love what that whole strength staff brings to the table.
Dillon, you mentioned growing up and watching Colt Brennan play for Hawaii, so I'm sure he has a special place for you.
Mhm.
What quarterback do you look at either when you were a kid, or you might even look at them now, somebody playing at the professional level,
Yeah.
and you think, man, I want, not that you want to emulate their game, but I like the way that guy plays the game, and I would like to play at that level the way that he does. Is there anybody that pops into your mind that you really, again, I hate to use the word emulate because that would mean that you're copying them, but that you looked up to and tried to model your game after?
I think growing up at a young age, I was always watching my dad, and I remember when I think I was toward the end of the VHS time, but I remember we popped that in and watched a bunch of the UH games. So growing up, I definitely want to be like my dad, and uh, just tried to model everything he did, his mannerisms, everything. And but as I gotten older, I think I just appreciate everyone's game. I watch bits and pieces from all the quarterbacks doing it at a high level, and um, I pride myself on being extremely accurate and trying to be as consistent as possible, and creating completions. So that's, like I said, taking a little bit of everything and kind of mixing it into my own.
The pace in which you guys played at times this year was mind-blowing to me. It's incredible that you can run plays that quickly. What's the biggest challenge for you when you go fast?
I'd say I've played in it a bunch, so I have a lot of experience with tempo. I think a lot of people are playing with tempo and different paces. But I think the most challenging thing is just as a unit, being so dialed in to where, sometimes bodies aren't set. Sometimes you're taking advantage of 12 people on the field. Um, Sometimes people do get tired with long drives, but I think as we dial it in as a unit, just with my experience, I've seen it only benefit, how productive we are.
How much of that is you knowing what's going on and being able to read the game and anticipate what is going to be called, and how much of it is actually being called into you from the sideline during a game?
I think it's I don't want to sound cliche, but it's a lot about the preparation and just having the normal downs call sheet, dialed in and kind of memorized, through that week, and then just because of how fast you can go, you'll get a lot of first down. So having that dialed in, obviously, and then um, just being extremely consistent, creating completions regardless of defenses not being set.
Do you prefer to play at that tempo?
I think it at times gives you an advantage. So anytime I can get an advantage, I would love it. So I don't mind any. I've played slow. I've played fast. I've played a mixture. So for me, it's all about the advantage.
All right, here's another question that inquiring minds want to know. All the people are asking the same thing. They want you to compare the campus life at UCF to the campus life in Norman.
Yeah, the campus life at UCF was kind of reminded of Hawaii in the sense that the weather, right, and warm, the city,
Bigger city,
and that's kind of the two main ones. And then campus life on OU feels more, I don't know, like, when you go places with people and you just know everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels more, I don't want to say intimate in that way, but intimate, knowing other people. And then it's just fun. I don't know. I love Norman and OU because, I mean, you got what you got on campus corner. Everyone's there. So everyone is there, and you have a blast. And then I'd say the architecture, I guess you could talk about.
Right.
Kind of
Hey,
being
what about
a little modern, but then just historic at OU. It's kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
You know.
What about the legacy angle at OU and the, I don't know how much interaction you got with a lot of the alumni players. I assume that there were a lot of them that were around, but UCF not having that kind of a history around the program. What did it mean to you to go to a place like Oklahoma and all of a sudden have guys like Billy Sims around, and these, even if it's guys that are younger guys, Jason White is around. You're young enough that you remember probably watching Jason White when you were younger. So those guys being around, what was the difference in that between UCF and OU?
Well, it's crazy because, you go to a place that's kind of, new and up and coming to a historic, spot like OU. It's just like, you don't realize how many, studs have really came out of OU until, you got, Creed walking in the building, or you got Bake talking to us, and you see on the spring game, Kyler, CD, and Hollywood. Like, it's wild to, have all those guys on the field at one time. Maybe not playing, but, just around the program. It's a blessing for us, just creating all those connections. But it's also just so cool for Norm and Oklahoma because of, obviously how great of players they are and great people.
I'll take a shot at Jason. He's not a Jason White guy. There's no way. He'd have been barely born. You got to be a Sam Bradford guy if it's going to be.
Well, that's what
it was. I remember watching the Notre Dame game. Sam Bradford. I remember watching Sterling Shepard. Obviously Coach Stoops, and we watched it a bunch.
I was trying to shift my timeline, Mark, and I couldn't fall
Jason
on the right era. But I've always been impressed, Dillon, with the brotherhood of the OU players. Anytime you're ever around Coach Switzer or some of the older players, and there is a group of them around each other, there is this camaraderie between guys, and not guys that played together either. Yeah. There's this camaraderie among them that is just remarkable to me. And I know that they didn't have that at UCF. So I wondered how much of an impact that made on you coming to OU.
I wouldn't say a huge, just because of how fast that decision was made, but it definitely put into perspective and made me realize how, how deep this thing really is. So, and I didn't realize how many connections I'd had to OU before even getting here with Coach Levy, Coach, Joey Halsey, who was a quarterback at OU. Coach Hype was my head coach. Phil Lodhole was an analyst at UCF. Coach John Cooper was a center here at OU. So the deeper I go into, my history too, I'm like, gosh, this thing really did come full circle for me.
We got to take a break, and we'll come back. We've got more with Dillon Gabriel coming up here on a Bob Moore Thursday. Bob Moore Nissan in Norman, where Brad is today. Bob Moore Cadillac, I-35 and Indian Hills Road, and here Bob Moore Ford, Southeast 89th and I-35. Middle of the day show continues after this. Bob Moore Thursday, very special Bob Moore Thursday. We appreciate Dillon Gabriel hanging out with us for the hour. 3 dealerships, all under great management. Bob Moore Cadillac in between where Brad and I are today. Brad's at Bob Moore Nissan. I'm here at Bob Moore Ford at Southeast 89th and I-35. So we got to get a little bit of a look ahead. Tell me what's going on in the offseason right now, and tell us what you think will be different about the offense in 2023 than it was in 2022.
Just statistically on the offensive side, year 2 is the best year, just with kind of the growth in everyone and the continuity all around. But just continue to grind and fix what we need to get fixed, and just put an emphasis on that kind of thing. And just as workouts already started, it's been night and day difference. Just the feel of it, but also just the buy-in and everyone, wanting to work and get better. So all positive.
I have a feeling your immediate reaction would be to be overly critical of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Can you objectively give us a grade for yourself for this past season? How'd you feel about the way you performed in 2022 for the Sooners?
Yeah, I wasn't, obviously just in myself. I thought it was average, and there's a higher ceiling for myself, and I'm hard on myself because I know, the type of product I can put on the field, and just like I said, going in the film room, and sometimes it's tough to watch, but the lessons you learn and things you can get better at. There's always something you can take away.
I knew you would be critical of yourself, which is why I prefaced the question with that. But here's what I would tell you from an outside observation.
Yeah.
The way the team played without you versus the way the team played with you was night and day. And I think if you had a fully healthy season, I think that hopefully you would feel differently about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that your arrival at Oklahoma was a disappointment. I think that we talked earlier about the statement that you made at the end of the season that sort of raised those questions of, well, is he thinking that he's not going to come back? The fact that people were as concerned that you might not come back indicates to me that people felt the same way as me, that I think it was a good year for you. Could it have been better? Sure. I mean, I trust you that you don't feel like you played up to the level that you want to.
Yeah.
But I think the way that the team played around you was very, very good. And I don't think you should be overly critical of yourself. We're all excited that you're coming back for another year.
Thank you. No, I'm excited too, and know that, just with the guys around, me and just the team in general, I just seeing their, upbeat and how excited they are. Man, it's something you can't hide, and I'm excited too. So
you came in here with a really kind of healthy looking lunch plate. There was some green on it. There was some orange on it. And then you had some chicken. And you said, the training table is a pretty good place. Have you really developed any affinity for some local places to eat?
Oh, I've got a bunch. So, I mean, I don't want to get judged because of this might be mainstream.
It's a judge-free zone.
We're looking for tips.
So for me, my go-to spot, and I don't want to put myself on blast on the radio, but Charleston's. I could tell you my order right now. It's my go-to. I try to take as many guys as I can with me because it's good. It's consistent,
right?
And it always hits a spot. So what I do is I start off. I'll get a ice water and an ice Sprite with a lime.
Right.
Then, the guys will order whatever. And then on the appetizer side, we'll get, the chips and artichoke dip, shrimp cargo.
The shrimp cargo is it's got to be one of the all-time greatest appetizers.
Right.
I mean, that the melted cheese on top of that it's next level. And it's not at very many places. So give Hal Smith some credit for throwing that out there.
No,
okay. What is the salad is pretty good there too.
So then we'll get a flatbread pizza.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get that as long as everyone's good with that. Then we'll get a salmon Caesar salad, which is unreal as well. And then I'm a big guy of the special. They have a Hawaiian ribeye some nights.
Oh, bro.
So I'm a fan of that. But
Red Rock Canyon as well. The same.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then if not, then I'll just go with, if I don't get the salmon Caesar, I'll get the salmon, like the north coast salmon.
And that's really the only place that you can find the Hawaiian ribeye.
Exactly.
I mean, and they did at one time take it off the menu, but they put it back on as a special. I think it's a lot of the time at Red Rock, so you can't go wrong with those places.
What if you're going to have a blow-off day, Dillon, and you want to just veg or junk out? What's your go-to junk?
Whew. So there's actually two more spots. But if I'm going to just get a burger and be greasy, it's probably at the garage. I'll get like a burger, and then I'll get sweet potato fries, ranch barbecue. And then I'm a big milkshake guy, so if there's a peanut butter banana milkshake, and I'm just listing things off because I've been eating healthy, but
yeah,
it's hard. You got to
I can attest to that. I saw what you had today. That was healthy.
So I'm kind of just saying all my guilty pleasures out there, and then Benvenuti's, I'll get like the it's like a clam sauce spaghetti, and it's good. That's really good.
Another very solid place.
Two more things to give us a sense of Dillon. What's your favorite movie?
There's two.
Okay.
There's The Notebook.
Oh boy.
And then the Wolf of Wall Street. Those are my two.
Okay. Oh, Wolf of Wall Street's good. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Notebook I can't get with you on, but Wolf of Wall Street's a great one. Now, what about this? What do you listen to get hyped up before a game? What's your jam? What kind of music are you putting on your playlist to go with the pregame?
On Spotify, they told me I'm universal. So I guess that means I kind of
like a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I like a little bit of everything. Yeah, I mix it up. It's the Hawaii jams when I'm feeling homesick, or whether it's the country, because I've been getting into country ever since getting out here. Whether it's the EDM, which is kind of the college thing right now, or just hip hop, what's popping right now. So
the only Hawaii jam that I could even name is that Israel Akamakawiwa or whatever his name is doing.
Kamakawiwa.
That's the only Hawaiian jam that I know.
Yep. Brada he's a legend in Hawaii.
Yeah, well, you have to give Brad some more pointers on the Hawaiian jams.
Yeah, I'm not good with the Polynesian pronunciations. There's some N's in there that don't exist.
Yep, it's tough.
It's tough for me.
It is tough. I've seen them, butcher Tua's name, and I hate to say this, but it does get harder if you go deeper into Hawaii. So the names get tougher.
I bet it does.
All right, we'll save it for the next time, man. This hour flew by. We appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Dillon Gabriel, Oklahoma University quarterback. Man. Appreciate the time. Again, want to thank very much Bob Moore Ford here at Southeast 89th and I-35, Bob Moore Cadillac, I-35 and Indian Hills Road, and then Bob Moore Nissan in Norman off I-35 at Tecumseh that made this possible and that keep Dillon rolling down the road in his F-150 looking good and being safe. We will be back with another hour. Yeah, what?
F-150 and country music, man. He may be. I guess there was no reason to worry about him going anywhere else.
Yeah, he's been baptized as an Oklahoman there with the red dirt and the truck. So stay tuned. More of the Middle of the Day Show coming up next.